Hi, this is Darnell at Whale of Recipes, and this is my 30-day review of the Hamilton Beach Shore Crisp Air Fryer Oven. And if you have not already seen it, please be sure to see the initial review for this cooker. That's where I do things like test cooks, measurements, testing temperatures, all types of stuff like that are done in the initial review. In this 30-day follow-up, I talk about my experiences and my impressions of the cooker, talk about some comparisons with others, but I do like side-by-side comparisons with some other cookers for sizing purposes, so you get to see how it fits as far as size with other cookers in the initial review. So I do a lot of talking in this one and do a lot of doing in the initial review. So, got my notes here, and I want to say initially that generally speaking, this is a great cooker for the price. I mean, this is a cost-effective cooker. It's not very expensive, and for its price, it does a great job. I mean, it's not a highly expensive cooker that's going to have all the features, bells and whistles of the more expensive cookers, but all the same, you can cook up some very good meals with this cooker and not spend a lot of money. So that is my off-the-top impression about this cooker. And I'll say that basically when it comes to its cooking temperature compared with other cookers, as far as some cookers cook things overall usually hotter, some cookers overall cook things a little cooler. This cooker is one of the cooler end cookers, so it doesn't come in as hot as far as cooking in general, but it still gets the job done. It still gets things cooked up. It still does the job you want it to do. After you're done cooking, it cools down faster than some other cookers may cool down. And that could be a good or a bad thing depending on your perspective. Some people like the cooker to stay very hot after the cook to keep things warm for an extended period without having to set things to warm or something. And some people like things to cool down quicker, but this one cools down a bit quicker. The cooker has no preheat, so that's something to keep in mind. You can, of course, add time and have it run for a while early if you choose. I usually used it with no preheat, and even though it might take a little extra time, everything would cook up fine. So no preheat, but it's not a deal breaker there for no preheat. You can get by without a preheat, even though it is going to take longer cooking things with no preheat. And it's not like a Ninja Foodi XL Pro air fry oven type of thing where it has a 90-second preheat and still cooks things pretty quick overall. This doesn't have the preheat, and it's going to take a little longer, and that's okay. Now, this cooker does have a stay on feature where you can set it to just stay on, and it basically does a max normally of 30 minutes on the timer, but you can use the stay on feature for it to stay on longer. And so sometimes you are cooking things that need more than 30 minutes, and that stay on feature does come in handy in those cases. You do have to be careful though, because of course with stay on, things are just staying on and you don't want to burn up anything by forgetting to turn it off. Now, the cooker has no pause, so if you want to try and turn things and flip things over and such, that could be a little tricky because there's no pause. You could, of course, set the time for half of your cooking time and then let it in, do your turning and stuff, and then turn it back for the second half of the time if you want to do that. Now, as far as noise level, this cooker is pretty quiet. Even on the air fry, it's pretty quiet. The only thing that you really hear is the timer ticking because it's a manual timer. It goes tick, 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 tick. But it's not bad. It's not very loud. So overall, I say with noise level, this is a pretty quiet cooker. Now, as far as the evenness of cooks, generally speaking, things are cooked pretty even overall. I've had some times where I may have cooked something and it may have seemed like maybe it cooked a little more hotter in the front than in the back, but it's never really too far difference between front and the back cooking. Everything seems to usually cook pretty well overall, even without having to do too much turning of things, spinning things around. Now, you will have to flip food over, like if you're using like the air fry basket with the bake pan in it, you do need to flip that food over partway through because one side's going to get a little more done than the other. Now, I do want to mention that the Easy Reach door, this door that comes up just like that, is very nice. It's very handy. It makes it real easy to get in there and get your food in and out. I like that easy reach door feature. I think that's something that would be nice to have in even some more cookers. If it had an auto pause, it'd be even better. And the door seems to help to keep the seal. Having the door that comes down like that seems to help keep the heat pretty well sealed in during cook, so it's not like the front is letting a lot of heat out. So that's another nice thing about that door. The user interface on this cooker, I mean, it's super easy. It's a manual dial interface. I mean, you can't get any simpler than that. So the user interface is great as far as ease of use. And basically when you're turning to stop time, one thing you want to keep in mind, if you're manually turning to stop a cook early, don't turn it too far, you'll end up turning to the stay on. Make sure that you turn the stop and off and it's on off, because if you turn too far you'll end up on stay on, and that's not where you want to be if you're trying to stop a cook. Changing your time and temperature on the fly is very easy to do because it's all knobs, so if you want to add time you just turn the knob a little further to add more time. If you want to add or change temp, or change temp, add temp or lower temp, just turn the knob for temperature. It's super easy. Now as far as smoke, I had no smoke issues with the cooker, so it handles smoke very well. I've cooked a lot of things in it and a lot of things that did sizzling and whatnot, and never had really smoke problems with it, so pretty good in that regard. Now I'm going to talk about the different functions that I used in the cooker and my experiences with those. I will say that bake works very well overall. So bake is what I use for a lot of things because the cooker doesn't have a lot of features to begin with, so you have to make do with the few that it has. So I would also use bake for reheat, warm, roast. I'd use it for those too, and it worked out well for all of them. I used it for roasting and reheating and keeping things warm or reheating. Bake worked well for all of that, just adjust the temperature to what you need. Broil I didn't use, I just didn't have anything that I was into broiling while using this cooker. Toast works well, but the thing to keep in mind about toast is that you need to have the rack on the higher rack level, on the second of the two rack levels. If you have it on the lower rack level, it's not going to do the toast as evenly. But for most things other than toast, the lower level rack setting is probably the best, or at least in my opinion, what I used for pretty much everything. I got to the point I was even using it for toast and it was uneven, but I just didn't worry about it. I just kept it on rack level 1 all the time. Now, I will say that the cooker is a little weak on the air fry, but it gets the job done with air frying. So the air fry works and it can air fry, but it's a little weaker as far as intensity compared to other air fryers. And basically that's all the functions that the cooker has, so you have to make do with those. I will say that cleaning the cooker is super easy. So I do want to show you inside. I mean, I just use a wet soapy rag, no special concoctions or anything, and you know, just wipe in there. And you see it doesn't hold stains, and you folks who have been around this channel know if a cooker holds stains, after 30 days it's going to be a bunch of stains in there. If you've seen some of my other reviews, and I'm not going to worry myself hard about getting it out. So it's doesn't hold stains. You see that stand there? Doesn't hold stains. The air fry basket, you know, I knocked the excess off, put it in top rack of the dishwasher. This is the only thing I would put in the dishwasher and it clean up fine. The bake pan does hold stains, so a lot of stainage there on the bake pan. I think I even warped it a little bit in use, but it's it works. The bake pan works, but you are going to get some stains on there, so you know, if you want to line it, you can line it, or if you're not going to line it, you know, you can spray some oil as such, but you still probably going to get some stain on there unless you want to go through the effort of getting that off. So that's been my experiences with cleaning the cooker. Now I want to talk about comparisons with other cookers. I will say I'm only going to talk about comparisons with a few. If there are other cookers that you have concerns about, you'll have to look at my other reviews. There's tens, literally tens of reviews here on this channel, well over 50 of different cookers and such. So, you know, you'll have to make do of those and come up with your own thoughts about how things are if the ones that I mentioned aren't one that you're concerned about. So this Hamilton Beach Shore Crisp air fryer oven, in comparison with the Ninja Foodi dual heat air fry oven, I'll say that the Ninja overall is just more versatile. It gets hotter. It's a more sturdy cooker. I mean, it's a better build cooker as far as just the sturdy quality, weight of the cooker. You know, it's like a weighty, sturdy cooker. And so it costs a good bit more, and it's got a lot more features, nice digital interface. It's got that sear plate. You know, it's like got a lot of nice stuff. So the Hamilton Beach definitely is not in the same class as the Ninja Foodi dual heat air fry oven, but it's still, like I said, a nice cooker for its price range. Now, in comparison with a lower cost cooker like the Gourmet French door air fry oven, I will say that I prefer the Hamilton Beach. Although the Gourmet can hold more than this Hamilton Beach, I like the easy reach door. And so the simple interface in the easy reach door for a lower cost cooker is pretty nice. So between this and the Gourmet, I did prefer using this over the Gourmet, even though the Gourmet for a lower cost cooker is pretty nice as well. And I guess if French doors are your thing, you know, reviews and all, cooks of all different types with that are also on the channel. Now, this Hamilton Beach versus the Ninja Foodi XL Pro air fry oven, the big one. The Ninja Foodi XL Pro air fry oven is still my champ, still my overall champ. The Ninja Foodi XL Pro air fry oven, it's bigger, it's just overall better as far as cooks. It holds in moisture better, it cooks faster. Let's see, it's got a lot more functions and features, and really it should have all that over the Hamilton Beach because it costs much more. So all the same, like I said though, the Hamilton Beach still can get a lot of work done. You still can cook up a lot of stuff in it, and it can still do a decent job. So I want to point out that nothing in this video is sponsored. Basically, if you want to help the channel, you can. In the video description, there's stuff like my cookbook, merch, membership, donations, if you so choose. You can always check out my blog, superwaveovenrecipes.com. Lots of recipes and things are there. And so, if you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification icon, and good eating.